So Runefest 2025, it's over and done with, and what a weekend it was. I was initially going to do a vlog while I was there, record a couple of things. However, when I was there, I was just getting lost in the moment, and I thought, know what? This is my first Runefest. I'm not going to ruin this by keep disengaging and trying to be a content creator and vlog. Let's just take a couple of things there and I'll do a summary video. So here we are. This is my Runefest 2025 summary video. I'm just going to share my thoughts on it, some of my experiences there, and also share a few bits of the things I did film. I'm also going to be paying attention to what I'm actually mining as well, so if I'm not looking at the camera at all times, you know why. Also, disclaimer, as I've already said, this was my first Runefest, and I am an old school RuneScape player. I've never touched RuneScape 3, so if you are after a RuneScape 3 perspective of Runefest, you're not going to find it here. So let's start with the opening. We got there quite early, and we were probably within the first 100, if not pushing 200 through the door. And what we were greeted by was all the J-mods working the convention, stood there, just applauding us as we were guided through to the stage area.
Holy shit. I know, right? Isn't it so cool? You don't even play the game. Absolute stolen valor, Manta.
I honestly cannot explain the feeling of it all, of seeing that happening. You know, there's not been a Runefest in 6 years. This initially was meant to happen November last year, and there's a few complications with it being pushed back due to insomnia. So very long time in the waiting, very long time in the waiting. And to be greeted by such a grand display, immediately you had this feeling like, yeah, this is going to be something special. So as we went through with the J-mods applauding us all, respect to them, they did it for about 30 plus minutes. Can't imagine what their hands are like by the end of it. But yeah, as I was doing that, they gave everyone a free bag of loot. And before I continue, I do have to comment on how high quality this bag is. Well, I've been to previous conventions. Loot bags you get, they're quite shit quality. Like the only convention where I still have something which I still use is when I went to Amsterdam TwitchCon about 3 years ago, give or take. I still use a water bottle they gave us from that, but everything else, it's been in the bin, low quality, broken. Now, these bags could break within the next few months, who knows, but the quality of how it feels, it's high shit, it's high shit. For those curious, this is what we're working with here. Is proper magnetic straps down, got your Runefest logo, another Runefest logo on the back, got a front pouch, pretty cool, pretty neat. And I'll be honest, just the bag alone, it feels at the moment. I'll let you know in a few months' time if I'm still feeling the same. But at the moment, it does feel a whole lot better quality than the rucksack I use anyways to carry my stuff back and forth from work, as well as whatever else I'm doing. So yeah, definitely going to be using that. And inside the bag, we got a few things. Firstly, we got the Adventurer's Guide for Runefest. Pretty cool. Really neat. This was just jam-packed with all the different things going on with the event. So we got a maps for Saturday, as you can see right there. Got a different map for Sunday because it reduced the main stage back a bit to make space for some additional things which was going on. And it's got all the details of the different events that was going on, what time, what it involves, etc, etc. Once again, I've been to events, music festivals, definitely guilty of this, where you need to pay extra money for something like this. Runefest, we got that free. Pretty neat, not going to complain. We also got some notebooks. My camera ain't picking up too well, you can just about see it there. Runefest logo, once again. Pretty neat. I will probably use this never whatsoever. But I did see people using these to collect signatures of their favourite J-mods and content creators they bumped into. So, you know, pretty nice thing just to be given on the day. This will probably gather dust somewhere and do nothing whatsoever for me. But still, cool to have. We also got some paper sculptures of the wise old man. Here's mine. He is missing his sourdough staff. Sadly, that's been lost in transit. But these were used for collection of one of our skill chips. What are the skill chips? It's just fallen off its base. But what are the skill chips? I'll go a bit more in detail into that later on. I'll go a bit more into detail about that. But for now, we were given that unconstructed, ready for later. We also got some trading cards of resources from RuneScape, such as runes, ores, logs, and gems. We will need that for another skill chip, which I'll go into a bit later on. And we also got a Runefest Sharpie. I've got it lying around somewhere. Here we go. And that was to be used alongside a Decipher card for a third skill chip, which, once again, further details later on. Yeah, all pretty neat stuff. I spent about the first 10 minutes just going around, talking to strangers, swapping for trading cards so I can get a full set of gems. And also, there's this friendly person going around giving these out. Hopefully the camera will pick these up. But they are some little clay coins with the RuneScape logo in them. Just a stranger made them themselves, giving it out to everyone sitting down and waiting. Pretty cool, pretty neat. Yeah, once all that went by, it was just the moment of just patiently waiting for the opening to commence. Many of you have probably seen it already. We got some live performances of some metal and rock covers of the RuneScape original soundtracks. And we also got the amazing Mod Ash duo of him coming out, playing the violin, pyrotechnics going off, you know, where our £175 ticket price all got spent on. But once that was over, Modmark came out, welcomed all the attendees, and the convention was officially open. So what was there to do? Let's start with the skill chips, since I've already mentioned them a few times. So there were 8 to collect, effectively 9, but there's 8 activities relating to the 8 chips. Chip stack right there. And the order which we completed these in, I'm going to go through them, explain what it entailed, so you get a good idea of what it all was. So the first one was the crafting skill chip, and that was an area to construct our wise old men, once again, in case you forgot what it looks like. In the queue for that, Amanda redeemed herself from her stolen valor by finally completing Cook's Assistant. Congratulations. And once we got through the queue, we were able to make our sculptures. It was nice, simple, easy fun. Probably shouldn't have done it first, if we're completely honest. It's probably one which would have been better off doing later on, because it was just a moment to sit down and relax. But we did it first, very foolishly. And we immediately got shown up by the person who came down, sat next to us, sped one through their miniature, did it way better than all of us, and left before we did, despite turning up after we did. So that was a skill issue on that part. The next skill chip is trading. So those trading cards from the goodie bag that I mentioned. So the idea was you needed to collect a set of 4 for one of the single resources. So for example, if you collected a set of ores, you would need to get an iron ore card, a mithril ore card, an addy ore card, and a rune ore card. The idea is you're not going to get all 4 of them in your pack. So you go around, talk to the other attendees, trade some of your other cards away to get the resources that you want. Once you got them, you went to their Grand Exchange stand and you trade them in at the Grand Exchange and you get your skill chip. The idea, obviously, was to get people socializing with each other around the convention, which is pretty cool. So you go around, talk to them, get the cards you need, kind of like what we used to do back on World 1 over 20 years ago. The next skill chip was for Goblin Diplomacy. Yep, that's not a skill, that's a quest. I know, I'm aware of that, but the skill chip was Goblin Diplomacy. And that was pretty cool, that was pretty neat. They had some basic cosplay pieces for you to help yourself to, and the whole idea was you and your friends dress up however you want. And once doing so, you went up to a green screen, had your photo taken, you got to choose what kind of background you want from different settings from old school RuneScape and RuneScape 3. You were able to download the photo for yourself and keep it, which is pretty cool, because normally with stuff like that at conventions, you'll have to pay for the photo, or wait until after the convention and nag the photographer to send it to you. We had little terminals set up where you can go over, download your picture immediately, and have it on your phone, which was pretty cool, pretty neat. And no, I'm not going to do my ongoing joke with Goblin Diplomacy. That's for another video I'm working on, okay? Next up was range. So with range, we launch a cabbage from a catapult into a basket. You get 3 shots, succeed or fail, get your chip. I was the only one in my group to land a cabbage in the basket. Unfortunately, people I was with were too busy talking with each other instead of watching me, and now they're constantly gaslighting me, saying it never happened. So, you know, that's a bit of trauma I'm taking away from Runefest, but considering what could have happened, I'm happy with that. Next up is cooking, or as they called it, Cook's Assistant Part 2. So good job, Amanda, finished Cook's Assistant in the queue for the crafting skill chip. But we got put into groups, and you had to search for eggs in a box full of hay. You have about 60 seconds to do that, and you have to find enough eggs to tip some weighing scales in your favour. I don't know what happens if you failed, because in the queue, we didn't see a single person fail it. But we were grouped with another bunch of strangers, 3 of them. One of them, by the way, had a sick as fuck Berserk shirt. I wished I said that to him at the time. I didn't. So if he does end up stumbling across here, sick shirt, mate. Fucking amazing. But yeah, we completely smashed that ourselves and these strangers we were grouped with. We got so many, they're struggling putting the eggs on the scale, and the J-mod who was with us was just like, we don't understand how you got so many of them. Secret was, because they just put the eggs in and lightly shuffle them around, people just obviously trying to find the easy one straight up the top, and about within 10 seconds in, I just scooped up all the hay, and you just saw all the eggs which had been fell to the bottom and just been left at the bottom. So I just immediately scooped up about 6 or 8 of them, told everyone else to do the same, and what do you know, just eggs everywhere on the bottom layer, just forgotten about. Nice, easy, brilliant. Min-maxing skill chips apparently. Next up is Hunter. So as I mentioned, we got that decipher code and the Sharpie in the goodie bag, and they had penguins scattered across the convention for us to hunt down. Each one with letters attached to them, and then once we found all the penguins, you're meant to organise those letters into the correct order and inform one of the J-mods at the Grand Exchange. We were able to guess what the word was after about halfway through. It was Godsword. It was very obviously going to be Godsword after the letters we had found already. However, we were never able to find the W penguin, and that is where our issue lies. And I'll be honest, it's still absolutely bugging me where the hell that W penguin was. So if you did find the W penguin and you know where that W penguin is, please go in the comments, let me know. I must know. I must find out. Next up is the magic skill chip. There are 3 orbs releasing flavoured vapour. You had to suck it up in the straw, guess and name the flavour. It was a cool idea, but I'll be honest, I found it a bit boring. But we did do this on the end of the Sunday, so as you know, a bit of fatigue was kicking in, so I didn't really fully appreciate what they were doing with that. Also just realised I've deposited my gem bag, so I'm gonna get that back next time I dump off some ores. And lastly is the thieving skill chip. You had to rob the rock bank. We unfortunately never got to do this because it started to get quite late on the Sunday. The queue was still quite long. Fortunately enough, on the Sunday, close to the end, they were starting to give the skill chips away for those who weren't able to get a full set yet, and obviously time was running slim, so we were able to still get our thieving skill chips. However, the J mod for this one still made us pickpocket him for us to get our chip, which, you know, pretty neat, pretty cool. And once you got all 8 chips, you could claim the 9th chip, which is a Vorkath's head, the logo for Runefest 2025, and then you're done. That's all the skill chips. I have to say, all the activities had some amazing high quality set pieces made for them, incredibly immersive, and the J-mods who are there being stewards for the queues were just always really chill to have a chat with as you waited for your turn. which was greatly appreciated because at the peak time, some of the skilling activities, you were waiting about 45 minutes to an hour. So the fact that they were so happy just to have a chat with you and be chill and whatnot, greatly appreciated. My only criticism is the storage box you could buy for the chips. So far, you may notice I keep saying that things have been high quality, high production. And that ends with the skill chip display case, which was literally just a cardboard box with some foam. You know, it was pretty whack. And, you know, it's something you got to buy anyways. They didn't give you the display case. You had to buy it anyways. So if you're having to part with money, I think a lot of people would agree that we would all been happy to spend a few extra quid and whatnot to get a higher quality display case, which wouldn't have been at any additional cost for Jagex. We'd have been happy to part with that money. But instead, we got a cardboard box with foam to store them in. So I passed up on buying on that. And Ish, one of the fellas who with us, he's going to 3D print us some custom displays instead. So once that comes through, I'm going to put all my chips in there. And because Amanda also got a set, it means I own 2 sets of these chips. We're going to turn our second set into a bunch of fridge magnets as well, which is going to be pretty cool. But moving on to the main stage event. So I'm going to put these chips somewhere out of my arm's reach because I'm going to keep on grabbing these and playing with them non-stop. And you don't want to keep hearing this all the way through. It's not an ASMR video, guys. I'm not one of those content creators. Unless you want me to be. But yeah, many of these were streamed online over on Twitch. So instead of discussing what was revealed or transpired at these main stage events, I'm instead just going to give you my take of how it was witnessing it at the convention. Many of you have probably already watched them as it was live streamed or gone back and watched the VODs, so there's probably very little extra I can contribute about the content of the events itself. But yeah, we didn't get to attend all of them. We did get to see the cosplay parade come past us while we waited for Goblin Diplomacy, which was pretty cool. And we did get to catch the start of the live TTRPG improv. We had a nice afternoon pint, just a little bit of a sit down. Enjoyed a little bit of that. The only thing I've got to say about that is Starbridge mentioned. Starbridge gang, wise up. The first event we properly sat down for, though, was watching Runefest Creator Battle. It was pretty much just Taskmaster, but RuneScape, which, you know, as a fan of Taskmaster, greatly appreciated that. Enjoyed every moment of it. If you want to know my favourite moment with that, it has to be Tilvesta recreating Wilderness Clue Scrolls. Very real, very relatable, very enjoyable. Next up is the Old School RuneScape RuneFest Summit. Once again, not going to discuss the content of those proposed updates, but I've watched plenty of these in the past through live stream, and I have to say, I usually zone out while they're on. They're on my second monitor while I'm grinding away at something, and then I just end up having to read the update afterwards anyways. But being there in person, getting to see the reveals happen, I can tell you it's an entirely different experience and atmosphere, and there was actual shivers being sent up my spine when they announced Blood Moon Rises. Honestly, the atmosphere of when you're there in the moment, something entirely different. Next up, Golden Gnome Awards, and this to me was one of the 2 highlights of the weekend. The second highlight being meeting Jimmy. I'll get onto that later though. But Golden Gnome Awards. Austin, the host, absolutely amazing. The rapport that was quickly built with the crowd, his slow descent into drunkenness, it was just so entertaining to watch.
Who wants some fucking socks? Oh, and one hat!
The people I was with, we just all agreed, we just stopped caring who was winning the Golden Gnomes, and we just wanted more of Austin. Austin, as well, possibly one of Jagex's greatest sock salesmen. It has fooled me into buying a set of socks myself.
Who wants some fucking socks?
So, you know, fair play to him. But come 9 o'clock in the evening, it was party time. Ish and I, we first started off in the LAN area, where they was doing a 99/126 for RuneScape 3/achievements party, where pretty much you can get yourself logged on to a computer, get your 99, and then obviously you get a little certificate signed by one of the JMods. believe it was only Mod, Mark and Ash who was doing all the signings. But that too was pretty awesome to do. Ish got his 99 in woodcutting. I got my 99 in fletching and farming.
99 fletching.
Also knocked out my Elite Varrock diary. And all of that honestly did not matter because the person right next to us got their max cape. And I'll be honest, completely took the wind out of our sails. I mean, fair play to him. If there's any place for you to get your max cape, it's gotta be Runefest, right? So fair play to him for doing that. Congratulations on your max cape. But yeah, the queue to actually get your certificate and have it signed, I'll be honest, was a bit crazy. And we wanted to go to the kind of nightclub area, which they had for the party. So we skipped on getting our certificate. So I was like, I am willing to not get this certificate. I've got my 99s. Had a bit of a cheer of people around. That's all I wanted out of it. Fortunate enough for us, on the Sunday, I forgot my bloody gem bag. Let me get my gem bag and then I'll tell you about the Sunday. But fortunate enough, on the Sunday, they did have it so you could get your certificates and still get them signed. So, lucky for me, I do have my 99 certificate. I don't know if I'm enough of a loser to frame that or just to stick it onto a fridge like your charge drawing. But still, nice little piece of memorabilia to have and something to remember my 99s with. But yes, the party. So the main stage area, they kind of turned into a nightclub area. It was a bit weird, I'll have to say. I don't know what I expected. Seeing it's a party full of nerds, like what do you expect from that? But it wasn't all bad, you know. It was just remixes of RuneScape's original soundtracks. They've got the fella who did the opening ceremony with a guitar out again, and he played some more songs with his guitar. Ended up just playing 80s pop music, few beers, bit of socialising. By 11 o'clock, I was ready to crash out and go to bed. So that's where our Saturday ended. But yeah, first day, pretty cool. So now we move on to the Sunday, and the Sunday was a very different atmosphere to the Saturday. It was a lot more chilled, a lot more relaxing. I believe that was planned because they were aware of how toasted people were going to get on the Saturday evening. A number of people wandered off to the casino and carried on drinking at the casino. But yeah, on the Sunday, we got some community market stores, which was pretty good. With these community market stores, you had the OSRS Wiki team, where you was able to talk to them about the Wiki. And they also gave out some free scarves, which were pretty cool. The RuneScape Archive project was there. There was a little quiz you could do to test your RuneScape history knowledge. I was absolutely shite at it. It was all RuneScape 1, classic questions. Even though I may be a bit of an old head when it comes to RuneScape, I'm not that much of an old head. But they also gave out some of these, RuneScape Archive project booklet, and it's pretty cool. It comes along with some interesting facts about different stages in RuneScape. Also, 82 mining, big moment, can boost to do some of my elite diaries with that. We're going to keep on mining, folks. What else am I going to do while I'm yapping? But they also give you some information of if you did have any old hardware, which does have previous versions of RuneScape on it, how you can retrieve that data and share that data with them so then they can archive it. It's pretty cool. They also had a live map of previous versions of RuneScape, which you could look at, which was pretty cool. Got to look at RuneScape back in 2005, 2006, which was the era I played when I was a kid, before the Grand Exchange existed. And I have to say, I forgot how empty rest of the rock looked before the Grand Exchange was introduced. And just seeing that just absolutely took me back. So that was pretty neat. There was a cosplay stand, which Amanda and I got to talk to as well. They gave us some basics on how to create cosplay. I'm not much of a cosplay fella, but Amanda, I know she wants to get into it, and they was able to share some real useful information about that, which is pretty neat. And then there was also a market store, which did sell some loot, So I was able to get this quite cool old school RuneScape glass. You see me drinking from this in future streams? That's guaranteed. They also had a blind bag full of goods from previous Runefests, as well as selling skill chips from previous Runefests. I've not opened that blind bag yet, and I thought I would save it for this video. So here it is. Here's the blind bag. So first up, we've got an art card. Probably can't see it in the corner, but that's dated 2019 Jagex. Old school RuneScape pen. A Jagex Sharpie. A range skill chip for one of the previous Runefests. And Jad badge. Not much, but considering it only cost me about a £5 for the blind bag, I don't know what to expect. But, you know, pretty cool, pretty neat. I also grabbed the limited edition book for the RuneScape Tabletop RPG. I've been planning to get this for a while. Maybe not the special edition, but at least the regular core book, because I want to run some sessions with my Dungeons & Dragons group. I've also got an idea for content with this in the future. And it's not going to be an ordinary roleplay podcast, because there's enough of them around and they're quite boring. But I've got an idea with it. Don't want to divulge too much of it. It may not happen this year. I want to concentrate a bit more on Hammerlocked this year. Keep your eyes peeled for that in the near future. But yeah, as I said, vibes, a lot more relaxed, a lot more laid back compared to the busyness and chaos of the Saturday. We got around, finished up our remaining skill chips. I'd gone and joined the Hanani campfire for 5 minutes. It was pretty cool, it was pretty chill. I got to speak to Hanani on the Saturday, so, you know, I wasn't too bothered about the campfire, but it was quite nice to meet some of the grass punks there, as well as just another opportunity to interact with Hanani. It was a good laugh, it was a good laugh. But more importantly on the Sunday, it's when I got to meet Jimmy. We was in the queue, it was about over an hour wait. We made friends with some dudes in there. Pretty cool fella. We're planning to send some raids together in the future. Once again, we was able to have a chill chat with some of the J-mods during the queue as well. And then we finally got to meet Jimmy. And, you know, the dude was incredibly nice, very humble, just mega easy to talk to, which was pretty pleasant, pretty pleasant. But I had a moment to ask one question. A single question, the most important question, which so many of us have been waiting to hear the answer to. When will Gary Gilbert's next house party be? And I've got news for you all. I do have news of when that will be. Jimmy said that he does need the word of mouth for this, because he's not had much time to share the news himself. So I can share this. End of March, Gary Gilbert's house parties make a return. Make sure you free up your diaries. Tell your friends. It's coming back. It's going to happen again. So yeah, that was my Runefest. Was the wait worth it? Honestly, except for the skill chip display case, I don't really have anything negative to say about that weekend. You can tell there was a lot of love put into preparing for Runefest, with all the props they had, the things they had organised. For me, I enjoyed every moment of it. I know it may sound like I'm bootlicking Jagex right now, but for my first Runefest, I've made many a great memory there, made some new friends there, and honestly, it was just a great weekend. I have heard the RuneScape 3 crowd was not happy with some of their announcements. I don't know much about that. I don't play RuneScape 3, therefore I don't understand it. I'm not going to comment on it. But from an old school RuneScape perspective, it was an alright weekend. But that's it. Thank you very much for listening to me yap for the past 30 plus minutes. I've got a backlog of only weds to edit through, so I'm going to be working on that in the coming weeks. I've got new inspirations for content after Runefest and new motivation for it. I need to get back onto Hammerlocked. We need to get that Dragon Warhammer. We will do episode 10 this year. Episode 10 being the Fire Cape. It's going to happen. And also, we're still after volunteers for Cox, so I can get that Eldermore. Hoping to do that second half of this year. Except for that, thank you very much for watching. Hit the like and subscribe button. And until next time, take care.